Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, the big and furry bovine. You know, the one good thing about doing a program 2 days a week, or the other 5 I don't. No, the good things about doing the 2 days of programming is that a lot can happen in between. And before we went on the air, we chat a little bit before we go on the air. We were talking about Don Larson passing away, and Rick, you were talking about a whole bunch of people who died a black cow of death.
David Stern, the NBA commissioner, from the aneurysm, and then just recently Sam Weiss of the Bengals coach. He passed away.
Yeah, and Sam Weiss, I'll repeat what I said to Rick. You're not in Cleveland, Sam. I don't forget this shit. Hey, how
come this elevator only has a down button?
And wait till Mike Tomlin dies. I can't wait. No, go ahead, Rox. Could you? Are you?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I can't wait. Give us. I can't wait. All right.
A little new shoes.
New shoes. That's right. Very good. Yeah. Wow, I know that was a good pickup, especially for a white guy. Pretty fly.
Well, man,
he's MTV savvy.
I was 15 years old in 1986. Come on now.
So everything is going down, news is being reported, but, it wouldn't be any fun if I didn't ruin it for you. And by the way, hi, Derek Frisbee. I know this is what Derek Frisbee thinks, but we'll get to that in just a minute about who. I just want to let you all know what he's doing. If you don't get it, you will in a couple of minutes, all right? And let me explain to you how I know. I've worked for people like Jimmy Haslem.
You just ripped that off of Soap, right?
What?
If you don't understand it, you will. Stay tuned for this episode of Soap.
Yeah, talk about just figuring something out. I mean, how many times did you have to see the Shawshank Redemption before you understood that Andy Dufresne actually escaped? Damn, son. Pay attention. So, it is amazing. Yes! I have a Negro in my house, Derek. I don't know how she got here.
Did she come by boat?
She came in through the bathroom window. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I caught her trying to steal something from a house, and we've been together ever since.
She used the neighborhood alligator as a gondola.
It goes from bad to worse.
Well, I told her, she goes, are the alligators dangerous? And I said, to black people, they're dangerous because what they do is they dress up like watermelons.
I'm about to log off of here.
All right, enough of that.
While I run to the other room real quick and choke somebody.
It's only January.
I'll tell you what. I'll do an impersonation of a chicken, and she can choke my. No. We'll move on.
Or you can quack.
You dumb fucking nose pickers. Okay, I know. Jimmy Haslem is a lot like people I've worked for. And I'm going to give you his quotes, and, we're going to hire the coach first, and then we'll do the GM search, Haslem said. The coach will be involved in the process, but will not have the final say. He'll be heavily involved in that process, and we will not have an arranged marriage between a head coach and a GM. All right. In essence, he's reverting back to the setup he had in 2016 and 2017, the halcyon years, where Hugh Jackson and Sashi Brown looked across the table at each other and said, how could he have found two black people who don't agree on something? This time, the coach and GM allegedly will be compatible and will work well together. Equals is the way Haslem described it. The GM and coach will report to ownership as equals and obviously married up with each other. Here's the deal, all right? The GM and coach will report to ownership as equals. Equals, no. The new GM will have final say over roster decisions like Dorsey did, and that means more than just deciding who makes the 53-man roster at the end of training camp. It's having final say over the draft, okay? Now, the GM position is going to be the most important position as far as the talent aspect of the team. People are saying, why was Dorsey fired when he actually brought us better talent than what we've had in the past? And the answer is he wanted to bring Freddie Kitchens back. And obviously the reason he wanted Freddie Kitchens back was because Freddie Kitchens didn't threaten him. There's so many reasons, but I'm going to get to the bottom of it all for you because it will explain Haslem's motives. Here's Haslem's quote. The GM will have decision over the 53 and the head coach over the 46. Well, they can't. Jimmy, let me explain this to you. If there's 53 to choose from, that means the head coach has control over 7. Because, I mean, that's mathematics, folks. You know, come on. All right. Then there's De Podesta. All right. And he has given some information to us, by the way, as far as, you know, that Elliot Wolf, who they were saying, well, maybe Elliot Wolf will be moved up into the GM position. They'll hire Mike McCarthy.
No.
Right? That ain't happening. Not a happening. Elliot Wolf's going to remain exactly the position that he's in unless he gets something better. Is somebody typing something?
I don't know.
It's banging away. It's like thump, 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 thump.
I will go mute.
Texting.
No.
Busted.
I was typing in the chat room, trying to get caught up there.
Oh, okay.
Very furiously.
My God, pecking, that would be, yeah, geez. Haslem did confirm that De Podesta, who lives in San Diego and commutes, will not take over as the head of football. He'll continue to report to ownership, including D. Haslem and their son-in-law, JW truck driver buttfucker guy, the executive vice president of the team. Paul's job will stay exactly the same as it is now, Haslem said. He's in charge of strategy. He reports to ownership. Nothing will change. He'll do everything he can to support the GM and the head coach. All right. So that is your structure. All right. Now, what is he up to? Hi, D-Bag. How you doing? Here's what he's up to, folks. De Podesta's on a plane back and forth. He only spends 2 days a week in Cleveland. All right? Stop and think. Why is that so favorable to Jimmy? Because that's one guy who just Mr. Analytics guy. And we've had this argument before about analytics versus experienced coach. So Haslem can sit back and say, well, you know, I hired the experienced GM guy in Dorsey and it didn't work. And now they were right all along. I was right all along. Woo! I was right about analytics. Woo! Woo! Ana-fucking-lytics. And here's the best part of it. How do you do analytics when you can't add, subtract, multiply, and divide? Well, that was obvious for Freddie Kitchens. I don't even know what analytics are. I don't have any idea. I think it's something you put in your butt, but I'm not sure. Maybe if you have like hemorrhoids, you put some analytic cream up your butt crack. But now we have an owner who can't add, subtract, multiply, or divide, and he's all for analytics. But I'll tell you what he's really for. He's for himself and meddling. Stop and think. The coach will have control over the 46, the GM over the 53, but they're both reporting to Jimmy Haslem. And DePodesta's only in town 2 days a week reporting to Jimmy Haslem. Ownership has the final say of everything. He's just rocked the boat enough to get himself right back at the wheel. The skipper to a millionaire and his
I say, Lovey.
Or as Neil Diamond would say, a team's on the rocks, ain't no surprise. I don't know what to tell y'all, except Jimmy Haslem has seized the day. Carpe diem, lads. Carpe diem. All right. Seize the day. Dead Poets Society. A Hollywood reference, if you're not aware of the movie. He sees the opportunity to take control of what he always wanted to take control of, but based on the fact that maybe he was laying in the weeds because his employees slurred minorities, but that's all in the past now. He's come back, you know, he's not saying, woo, I'm going to be in the dog pound. Woo. No more of that, man. No more of that, you know. Yeah, Dee's going to have a spindle up her butt, and Jimmy's going to be making all kinds of bad decisions, including who your next coach is. And you know who your next coach and GM will be? They have to believe in analytics. Mike McCarthy, Derek, doesn't fit the bill. You know?
Unfortunately, that also X's out Tom Coughlin, which would be my pick.
I would pick him to die. I wouldn't pick him to coach. And we're bringing in a couple of people, Stephen Rose and Sega Geek. Hey, you guys, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Mr. Moohead, I didn't see any point in firing John Dorsey. I think that was stupid.
Well, I think that it probably had very little to do with the talent part of it. I think it had everything to do with the Freddie Kitchens part of it. And I think everybody with an owner who is devious and a liar, all right, what happens is people will start trying to protect their own turf. And I think the reason that Dorsey was so quiet is he couldn't even believe how bad. Does somebody have something going on?
Yeah, I think it's segregated.
Oh, why? Is there feedback?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit.
That is correct. All right. All right. There you go. All right.
Okay, see if that helps.
Yeah, it did. So right off the bat, Kitchens gave Dorsey no hassles, and Dorsey let Freddie Kitchens wreak havoc and reign over the players and punish the guys he didn't like. And it was all okay. Yeah.
But Kitchens wasn't Dorsey's guy to begin with. That was Baker's guy, and then Haslem endorsed him, right?
No. Originally, from the conversation of things, is that it was Stefanski was DePodesta's guy, and that Kitchens was Dorsey's guy.
Oh.
And that was the way it went down. And Dorsey only saw the diminishing of his own authority, as Cartman would put it. So
yeah, when they hired Kitchens, I never understood it because I thought Greg Williams would have gotten the job first. And then I just realized Greg Williams is a really strong-willed guy.
That's right.
And Kitchens is kind of a bitch. So, I'm sorry, not Kitchens. Dorsey was kind of like scared of that. So he hired his own boy because it was similar to like the Andy Reid thing in Kansas City to Dorsey. So he picked the most weak-minded coach that he could find to be his puppet.
Yeah, except at least Andy Reid knew football. I don't know what the hell. Freddie Kitchens doesn't know how to wipe his ass, let alone football. So, now, which hand do I use here? Is it my left? If I reach around with that, how do I know which part of the crevice I'm actually wiping? Because
do you think John Dorsey's actually hurt him from this? Maybe they did him a favor. Like maybe he's relieved that he got fired.
Oh, I think that's definitely the case. I mean, he's a guy who has no yield in him whatsoever. And we learned about him in Kansas City when he got into problems with the front office there. He does things his way. I mean, he's Frank Sinatra. My way. Yeah.
I think, but do you think guys like Dorsey, a guy who does things his way, sort of old school mentality, like you said, coaches, you can't coach today's player with that mentality. Well, a lot of them are they question it, not like it was easier back then.
All I know about Dorsey is this: he made a bad call on Kitchens. He made a great call on Chubb. He made a great call on I think on Baker Mayfield, and I still think that he'll be a good quarterback. But there were guys that we don't know. Njoku, he allowed Kitchens to sacrifice him at the altar. I mean, basically, he didn't stand up for Njoku. There were players who I think may have potential skills that we never even got to see on the field. He didn't. I think that Rashard Higgins standing up to the head coach, he was standing up to Dorsey as well. I think those two men stonewalled a lot of players and tried to silence a lot of players. That's what I think.
But I wonder how this reflects on Jimmy Haslem, because I wonder if the coaches he brings in next is going to have these same problems. And what happens next? You're just going to go through a new regime the next season after?
The first thing is analytics. All right. If analytics was such a good idea with Sashi Brown back when, where were our draft picks? I mean, how did we want, and people will say that, it's a hit and miss thing. I mean, taking a guy who is a left tackle at 33 and then turning out that you have to trade him because he wasn't good enough to play was a big swing and miss. All right.
Yeah.
But at the same, and also Callaway was a huge whiff. And people said, no, not another guy with a bad attitude. And we saw the worst in Callaway. And I never thought that Callaway could catch a football. He didn't have good hands, and he was disruptive that way.
Penguin flippers.
Yeah. So I honestly don't think that that Dorsey was like, at 90% from the free throw line, like Calvin Murphy for his career. I think that, there are hits and misses. But, I'm being asked a question that has nothing to do with the Browns. Do you feel that Lamar did enough to secure the MVP award move? I'll save that for a little later. Remind me again later of this, D-Bag. I don't think there's anybody more important to their team than he is. So for most valuable player in my mind, I think he deserves that because nobody expected this kind of season from the Ravens. But it all depends what happens in the playoffs, and quarterbacks get reputations for winning big games or Andy Daltoning in the playoffs. So you never really know until you get through some of these things. But he had a hell of a year, and I wouldn't complain about that. My feeling about Dorsey is they sat him down and said, look, the owner of the team is going with analytics, and that was it. Discussion over. That means there's going to be some major input other than what Dorsey's premonitions were about players that we're going to decide who is on the roster, who is on the team, who's going to be drafted. And and it's the same problem that I've had in the past when you bring in a head coach and you allow him to just hire everybody around him, or the head coach wants to be a general manager and head coach, or wants to, all of that combined nonsense. It isn't the structure here. I don't mind the idea of hiring a coach first and then hiring a general manager, because honestly, the general manager is going to be, they're going to present him with analytics and they're going to shove it down his throat. If you don't see this, you're blind. There's not going to be any, well, I have a gut feeling about this guy, unless it's Haslem. And we'll go back a few years. Here's what I think you should be doing as far as picking a quarterback. Woo! I'm going for Manziel. Woo! It's like, what the fuck? But everybody knows that it was his call. And it went against all of the things that he was espousing about analytics because he's dumb and he doesn't know how to add, subtract, divide, or multiply. So he ends up going with Manziel and screwing the drill up.
Mr. Moulet, doesn't Jimmy Haslem kind of resemble Jerry Jones's illegitimate broke Jerry Jones's cousin?
Yeah, except that Jerry Jones struck oil, and I don't.
And Jimmy Haslem just happens to be his cousin. The loser.
And Jimmy Haslem just happened to be born into a trucking company, and I don't think that
like Jimmy Carter's brother.
Yeah, and look, I'm sensitive to this kind of stuff because I am my father's son. No, I am my father's son, and we all have an act to follow, But when you're inheriting, and you really, what is it you really build upon from what you've inherited? Then, you get into Woody Johnson territory, okay? You get into that Randy Lerner territory who just woke up one morning and goes, oh, my God, Daddy's dead. I got a football team,
Jimmy Haslem's like guys at the family reunion that everyone's like, oh, shit, he's here. Let's just entertain him. Hey, are you still that used car broke salesman? You still selling used cars, Jimmy? Nah, man, on the gas station.
Tom Hawley, you're right, buddy. Jimmy says he's going to get it right.
This time.
Wait. Here you go, Rocks. I kept on looking for a sign in the middle of the night, but I couldn't see the light. You know the song?
No.
I couldn't get it right. Couldn't get it right. Yeah. He can't get it right because he's in his own way. He trips over his own dick and it's only this big.
Jimmy knows
he gets in his own way.
Jimmy knows nothing about football, and you can clearly tell this guy's he's just a guy who inherited the team from his dad. That's it.
Well, the structure of this isn't the problem. The problem is when you have a dunce who sits at the top of the pyramid, you got a problem. Because if everything is like this and everything reports to the dunce, you got the whole thing fucks up. It doesn't work.
You might as well let Dan Gilbert own the Browns if that's the case.
It's a common denominator. A common denominator is Jimmy Haslem. The only thing that's the same. Different coach, different players, different GMs, same owner. Common denominator. If the keeps going the wrong direction, it's because of him. He's the final say. The buck stops here. Yes, Stephen.
Mr. Moulet, do you think this fell? I'm not saying the Browns weren't already failing since they came back. I'm not going to argue that with the previous two owners before that. But do you think what Jimmy's character sort of reflects on all these regime changes, sort of reflects on him being, with him doing the rebate, scamming, and all that? Do you think that a lot of what his character is his karma, what's happening on the field?
No, I just think that, the NFL is a fraternity of sorts.
Yeah.
In which you have X number of owners, and they all do have things in common. They got a lot of money, and they're white, and they are Republican. That's what they are. And for better or worse, it is a very small fraternity, and unless you fuck up so bad, you can get a hand job in public. Hand job in public and film it. If you're a part of that old boys network, you're all good to go.
Hell, you can rip off minority truckers, you're good.
Look at all the shit that Irsay's done. And he's still owning the gold.
Yeah. To get thrown out of that club, you could jump up and down on a diving board in public with your dick going up and down like that, and it wouldn't make any goddamn bit of difference. So once you're in the club, look at Art Modell. Look at fucking Art Modell. And you know that they're talking about having a special award for him in the Hall of Fame?
What?
You know, the lying sack of shit award. I don't know what it is, but I was reading an article about it. It's like, I don't got any money, so I had to go to Baltimore award. I don't know what it was. All I know is you can be a thief, you can be a criminal, you can be a public jack-off artist, you can be whatever it is, and you stay in that club. That's just the way it is.
In some cases with players too, depending on how good they are, like the Roethlisbergers and stuff, the Ray Lewises. Stuff
Haslem was a minority owner of the Steelers, if you don't remember.
Yeah.
That's how he crawled into the network. The old boys club.
Yeah. And my dad always told me it's not about what you have, it's about who you know.
And with him, he's got the U.S. flag on his lapel, and he's right there. Right there in good standing with the white Republicans. And he don't like black people. His employees felt free to say that. And I've never in my life, I've run businesses, I've worked for people who were blatantly racist, who allowed that kind of shit talk in their businesses. I've never known a business person who was a non-prejudiced person who would allow that kind of thing without firing those people instantaneously. And he knew, come on. I mean, you know what's going on in your building. I had a problem in Flint, Michigan, and I ain't going to get into the whole story, but a racist comment was made, and it was, we can't live in a town 48% inner city population is African American. With that attitude, we can't do it. Flint, Michigan, 48%. 48. They're almost the majority in Flint, Michigan.
They are the majority in Baltimore. It's 63% black.
I mean, you just, and I hope that the Ravens fans in the African American community bestow the praise on Lamar Jackson that he deserves, and I hope that it increases their fan base. The whole thing is, we weren't an urban radio station. We were a top 40 radio station that played, at the time, a lot of hip hop and a lot of rap music because it was popular in top 40. So you found out real quickly that, you can't walk around in a community like that, do that. And you can't allow people in your business to do that either. Go ahead.
You know what would be weird? If they enforced all the rules like they did on domestic assault, sexual assault, domestic violence, and all that in the NFL as they did with marijuana, you would be surprised at how much it would probably be a lot better. But they're more concerned about the use of marijuana than they are about domestic violence cases in the NFL. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to me.
To be very honest with you, in a white male sense, and we have a seventh member. Is that a seventh member trying to get in? Who wants to jump out for just a minute?
I'll jump out.
All right. Let's. Okay. Let's get Attila. Are you there?
Hello, this is Attila. How is everybody tonight?
Good, Attila. Oh, it's great to hear you. What do you have to say to us today?
Oh, not a lot. What has been going on with you?
What is going on with me? I'm talking about sports.
I like your headphones. I like the gap in between your teeth and your big nose.
Oh, well, thank you, Attila. I appreciate it. You should have named yourself I Got Your Back.
No.
Or you could have gone
name, and don't be funny with me.
Yeah, no, I know, but you could have gone the Jackson 5 route.
Don't be funny with me.
I want you back. That would be another one. All right.
Okay, but don't be funny with me.
That's my job. My job is to be funny with people, Attila. Have a sense of humor. Life is not a fatwa, my friend. All right. We're talking sports.
How is sport in your country?
Well, there are lots of them, Attila. Lots of sports. You know what one of my favorite sports is? Equestrian. Do you have equestrian over there?
Yeah.
No. I'm in America. Where are you?
Me? I'm in Syria. I'm really serious about this. No, so really, where are you? Where are you at, Attila? Are you a sports fan, or are you just kind of having fun?
Are you home alone tonight?
No, you're supposed to ask Macaulay Culkin that. All right.
I will break into your
you're
home
not going to
and
win.
rape
You're
you
not
and
going to
your
win
wife at
against
knife
me.
point. Nigger.
All right, that's enough of that.
Well, didn't you know it was coming? Once they're defeated by a cow from a intellectual basis, you know. Hi, Stephen. Welcome back. Wasn't that a wonderful segment of the program? I love hecklers.
The troll. The minute he started talking, I'm like, he was trolling.
know.
It's not even an Asian guy. It's not like a white guy trolling.
I love hecklers. I used to do stand-up comedy. That's what I do.
I thought it was Kim Jong-il at first. I said, who the hell is that guy?
I have no idea.
Attila T. Hunt.
Then he had to resort to that old Kramer type of trolling. It's like, well, I'm not going to win here.
No, you can tell he was
lowest
trying with the
common
accent.
denominator.
And then at the end, when he said what he said, yeah, that's a white dude trolling.
I think
been a Steelers fan.
no. Freddie would never have figured out how to click on the link. Couldn't have been him, D-bag.
Freddie couldn't have come up with that accent.
Oh yeah, and that fast girl Sophie's another troll too in your chat room. Just to let you know.
Okay, I do appreciate it. And you know something? Derek, if it were Hugh, it would have sounded because he would have been in the lake, you know.
Or you think he would go in Lake Erie like Hugh Jackson did, or?
Yeah, exactly.
He's back home looking at the tape.
Do you know that it was amazing that they look back at the last 40 years of ecology in Cleveland and the Cuyahoga River catching on fire? You remember that story back from Cleveland back in the day. But they said there was a higher degree of toxicology in the water when Hugh went into Lake Erie. That literally tens of thousands of fish perished. It was a horrible thing.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah. Randy Newman got a good song out of it.
And what are these trolls doing in the chat room? We're talking football. What are you guys doing here?
They have nothing. The season's over with, so they have nothing to do.
I know, but this is a sports topic, and they're talking about stupid stuff in the chat room.
Sophie's not a troll. That would be like, that sounds like the name of a children's book.
and there's a troll telling you it's not a troll.
Sounds like a cat as Sophie goes plays with her ball of yarn.
Oh God, it's just too funny.
Humphrey Bear.
Well, I mean, actually, whoever Fast Girl Sophie is brings up a good point. Could have had learning difficulties, but what he learned, if he didn't have learning difficulties, is you can't match wits with a cow. It is impossible. Well, it is actually possible, but when a cow's losing an argument, he just goes like this. If you notice, when you go into buy a field and you start trying to bother a cow, you try to tip him. That's default for a cow who's losing an argument.
Is that really a thing, cow tipping? For real?
It is, yes. Cows sleep on their feet.
Yes, it is a real thing. Take it from somebody who grew up in Illinois.
Yeah,
I feel so embarrassed because I'm from Wisconsin. I didn't know if that actually was a real thing or not.
She owns no videos. She's a troll. I just checked her account.
Fast Girl Sophie. Yeah, Fast Girl Sophie. It's a great name. Yeah. Fast Girl Sophie. Yeah. Throw down a bottle of beer. All right. We'll get back to sports right now. The only way I hire McDaniel's Rare Breed says if he can bring Tom Brady with him and let Baker learn under Brady for 2 years. Yeah. Well,
Brady would never come to Cleveland.
No, and it wouldn't be. I mean, how would you sell Giselle? There it is, sell Giselle. That's a good rhyme. On that, how would you do that?
He would have to actually sell Giselle in order for that.
Probably on eBay.
Hey, she's got 3 private videos. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Sophie, this
You
is
bet, Harry. You bet.
This is a
Like, did it
sports
because of your
channel.
wife, do you? Nudge, nudge, say no more.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
That's right.
I think she likes you.
Channel.
Maybe the
And all you're
wink.
doing is trolling right now.
Oh, wait. Here's Fast Girl Sophie. Are we ready for her? Who wants to take a back? I'm having fun with this. I really am.
You're trolling.
I'll take the back seat this time.
All right, but jump back in as soon as we're done, okay? All right. Fast Girl Sophie.
Nigger.
I want to see how long it can go on for. The more you say it, the less it means. Doesn't mean anything.
What a fucking loser.
Oh my
I wanna
God,
see
I'm
how
losing
long
my
we-
mind. You're going to make me cry. Oh, damn. Oh, you really got me.
Well, now that he got that out of his system, how does he really feel right now?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Hey, Mr. Moohead, is that Jimmy Haslem trolling?
I mean, must have worked for Pilot J. Must have.
I thought it was
Um,
Freddie Kitchens
well-
trolling him.
Well, with the N word and the racist propaganda with Jimmy Haslem, that's probably him trolling as an Asian.
Tennessee won the bowl game last night, so he's out of his mind. And
No, I think I know who that. I think I know who that is. It's Hugh Jackson trolling.
There you go.
Yeah, fast.
Wait, how could he call someone else that word? But
Hall
yet
and Oates
he
song.
himself is that same race. That makes no sense.
Hugh Jackson is trolling.
Oh, Hugh Jackson's a terrible troll. He probably
Hey, look, D-bags and tight. Look at this. Inciting rocks to action. Roxanne's looking at this like, I can move. Am I reading that right? Go ahead. Say your patented line. Oh, no. Go ahead.
Oh, no, he didn't.
There you have it.
Oh my goodness! Does anybody remember Hard Knocks when the Bengals they did the Bengals season, and Hugh Jackson pretended to be such a badass that he was smoking cigars all the time, and it was so fake. It was so ridiculous.
And you know, Patrick, you're right. That probably was Mason Rudolph. You know, sorry.
Could have been.
Here's the best one yet. You should have sang Titanium to him. Fire away, fire. Okay. It's just
Hey,
funny.
Mr. Moohead, you should make moderators in here so we can kick these trolls out.
Yeah, you know, I think that as the show gains in popularity, you know, I believe that people should have open access to programs, and you know, the fact is that we don't espouse any of this kind of thinking, and anybody who listens to the program knows that. But you know, and now we're getting, you know, buy you a life, trolls. Yeah. So at any rate. I know what Haslem's up to. The problem that we're going to have is that we're going to end up with a head coach who defers to analytics, a GM that defers to analytics. The guy who's here 2 days a week is going to have the ear of the owner who's here 7 days a week, who will have all the authority. So now here's a legitimate person coming in, Derek Frisbee. Who wants to? Somebody's got to take a turn this time to bounce out. Who's going to take? And not you, Rox, because you've been affronted, and I want you to sing Titanium at some point.
All right, Brian's out.
All right, very good. And here we go. Derek Frisbee, what's up?
Oh, maybe a troll.
He's speechless.
No.
Hey,
He
I gotta
is.
tell you, man, I'm sick. I feel like crap. But I gotta tell you, that was probably the best show of yours that I've ever seen.
Well, don't worry, Jimmy Haslam was trolling, but we kicked him out of both accounts.
Hey, Derek, I mean, what, cold or a flu?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You got flu or cold?
Hello.
What? I don't know. Not hearing him now.
That could be a troll, Mr. Moohead.
That or he's really
Uh,
sick or something.
It's a mix, but more of a cold.
Oh, okay, that's his voice.
Yeah, so yeah.
Cole,
Yeah.
probably, but
Oh, I'm sorry to
Can you
hear you're
hear
not feeling. Yeah, we can hear you now. I'm sorry that you sound so bad, but that it's that's what happens, man. It's a sad world, isn't it?
Why do I
actually
you're
being
feeling-
a troll and being an imposter? Now that would have actually made me laugh out loud.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it's you and Jimmy Haslem. They found your account now, Mr. Moonhead.
Why do I have this weird feeling that the Browns are going to F up the GM hire and they're going to hire somebody like Doug Whaley, formerly of the Buffalo Bills?
Oh,
I hope that's not the case, but I think who they're going to hire is exactly the type of person who is willing to accept the title and without the authority. So that's what you're going to do, is you're going to have people who are Jimmy Haslem bootlickers. Team can't be successful. Analytics, when being run by a guy at the top who doesn't understand the concept and who sits there and tells you, well, the way other successful organizations are doing this is with this structure. And, there's no cookie cutter way of running a business. And everyone has to utilize the personnel they have to the best of their abilities, to their best advantage. And, if I went into a radio station, I said there is one set way of running a radio station in Danville, Illinois, or Flint, Michigan, or in Binghamton, New York, and that's what Clear Channel and iHeartRadio and all of the big corporations do. They run the same jingles packages, the same playlists in every city. If you're in Richmond, Virginia, you're hearing the same music that you would have heard in Flint, Michigan, or in Spokane, Washington, or in San Diego. I mean, and you can't run a business that way. And people wonder why radio has lost its grip on from the imagination of the public. And yeah, the internet has hurt it, but what's really killed it is the lack of creative thought. And the fact of the matter is, the fact that I can even go on here without any idea of what in the hell I'm doing and have 1,500 people watching a post-game show. I mean, all it takes is finding a little niche and making it work for yourself. There's no cookie cutter way of doing this. Jimmy Haslem is looking at copying other people's methodologies, and he doesn't have the base skill level himself to pull it off. It's well, thank you, Derek. I appreciate it. We hope, And, I know, Entercom is another company who's, in upstate New York, that's where you are. I was in Binghamton and I sold to Clear Channel out of Binghamton. So they, Clear Channel was finding a presence in Buffalo and in, Rochester and in Corning, Elmira, and in Poughkeepsie, and in that part of upstate New York. And Entercom, I think, was in the bigger cities, Syracuse. And we have this is Bronk trying to get in. Who's going to take a step down for a minute to get past?
I'll do it. You want to do it, Rick?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make out.
All right, get back to us, Rick.
Okay.
All right, and now we bring in the Bronkmeister. Hey, Bronk, what's up?
Boo. Yeah, I'm on my phone today in bed. So, how's it going? How about
Good.
the BCOD?
Yeah, he's been active.
Give him a shout out.
He's been active. Yeah, I'll give it to you, but I don't want him to. I want him to stop already. Stop already.
Got Dorsey. He's got thousands of Iranians. It's all happening.
Hey, Bronk, be
There
careful.
you go.
Jimmy Haslam's been calling in trolling, so be careful.
As you really, yeah, no, I've been in the chat room. I just haven't been watching this in bed. So anyway, there you go.
So Tom Hawley is in Rochester, the former home of Kodak. Is that right?
Really?
Yeah, Eastman Kodak.
Yeah, I used to be based in Rochester. Yeah, so
Captain
D-Bag says my favorite thing about the channel is Moo's attitude and Roxanne's singing. Aww.
Roxanne can sing, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, she can sing for me anytime. Except
Yeah.
that titanium song. Just not.
Do go
No.
on, do go on.
Yeah. This is what I say in a nice public sense, but this is that's my Roxanne face at home. All right.
Roxanne should stand outside. That would be awesome.
I don't know that one.
It's a good song. You should check it out.
And hi to Jeff and Bama. How you doing, my friend? Another guy who's been around a long time. I'd like to have my long-time viewers stop by. Rochester, the home of Lou Graham, a foreigner. Steve Gadd. Now, Steve Gadd, let's see if I get this right, man. Steve Gadd is another musician. I want to say that Steve Gadd, is he a bass player? Is he a bass player? Jazz guy. Am I right about this? I don't know. That's out of
Steve
my...
Gadd a drummer?
Maybe. He's a jazz guy. I'm damn well sure, though.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah. So I'm not exactly sure. So at any rate, the odds...
he's a jazz drummer.
Drummer, okay, yeah. All right, yeah. Oh, a drummer for Eric Clapton. All right, very good.
Wow, he's 74.
Well, yeah, he's been active since 1968. I would think he's in his 70s by now.
That means he's already tied Sam Weiss. He's going to take the lead very shortly. And Cleveland! And here's Bronk bouncing back in again. What happened to you, Bronk?
No idea, but I'm on my phone. I don't know what I'm doing. I was trying to see the chat, and then that totally took me out of the studio.
Wow. Well, I mean, I don't know how things work on phones. I don't do much on phones.
But neither do I.
No phone sex for you.
Yes.
So at any rate, that's I got another headline.
Ginger Baker died earlier this year, Kremley.
Yeah, he did.
He did, yeah. Ginger Baker's Air Force. That was his band after he left Cream. Yeah.
Fish basket.
Oh, and he was a complete asshole, too. Ginger Baker.
Crazy guy. Crazy guy. Yeah. This is my favorite headline of the day. Was Kobe Bryant better than LeBron James? Are we back to this?
Seriously.
Now, do you want to know why they're saying this? Because the Christmas game where the Lakers lost, to the Clippers, right? That they said that the smaller Patrick Beverley got the better of him defensively. I mean, do you really think in a game that matters that you can compare Patrick Beverley to LeBron James? I mean, LeBron James plays when he feels like playing, when it really counts, and his body is beat up right now. Wait till the playoffs. Then talk to me about Patrick Beverley. Jesus Christ. That's why his last name is a woman's name, because he should be playing in the WNBA. That's the dumbest fucking headline. I mean, what does that have to do with Kobe Bryant? Kobe Bryant never played against Patrick Beverley, so God, make it stop.
I could go on about this for days because I used to do sports shows talking about basketball, and don't get me wrong, Kobe's one of the best ever, but as an all-around athlete, LeBron is better.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe is the most singularly effective threat offensively. When he would get it going, man, unstoppable, and he perfected a shot that you couldn't block, you couldn't do anything with, and he also had secondary skills going to the basket. So Kobe Bryant was a remarkable offensive basketball player and was a hugely important component to the popularity and the selling and marketing of the NBA game at a time when the league was really shifting to more of an offensive kind of presence. But, every generation will have its arguments. Kobe Bryant is good, and LeBron James, I think, is great. And anyone in Cleveland would not disagree with me. LeBron James did something that Kobe would never have tried to do. Kobe won, with Shaq, and, but I didn't see at the end of his career, by the time he was LeBron's age, Kobe was either A, crippled, or B, hogging the ball. And that's all he did. And he played sub 500 teams. Go ahead.
LeBron won a title with Mo Williams. That alone makes him like the best player of all time.
And this is a good point. The mentality is, the thing with Kobe was temperamental, which was not good, which led to problems. He and Shaq wanted to be alpha dog, right? Yeah. But Kobe did have a singular mentality of a killer nature that LeBron seems to kind of waffle on sometimes. And that's that Wilt Chamberlain thing. Sometimes when you're so great and you don't bring it 100% of the time, except when you control the circumstance. LeBron, the last 4.5 minutes of Game 7, if you want to see an exhausted LeBron James after all the minutes he played, he missed 2 short balls within 3 feet of the basket that he left off the front rim because there was just nothing left in his legs. Nothing. It took Kyrie Irving to hit that game winner because LeBron's legs were shot. But at the end of that game, when it counted, he had the chase down block that made it all possible. That is the effort that LeBron James gave at that moment in time. And to me, that play is forever etched in my mind because it was a play that had nothing to do with LeBron James' basic talent or all the hype. It was pure, dogged effort.
Yep.
And, the toughness, that question was resolved for me.
And no one expected for the Cavs to even come back in that series.
And this will be forever the argument. Jordan was a league icon, but the fact is that he played in one place. When he went to the other place, he was old and done. He lost his ability in his legs. He was bogus for the Washington Wizards, which is nothing new for that organization. And he basically took the pipe there. The whole weird thing about him leaving the NBA was shrouded in gambling accusations and, great basketball player. But from the prototype of the league's game today, I don't think that Michael Jordan would hold a candle to LeBron James because he doesn't pass as well. He didn't handle the ball as well. I would consider Jordan and Kobe to be similar, except that the defensive tenacity and the overall mentality of Jordan offensively and defensively was over the top. His focus was unbelievable.
So, Mr. Wood, do you think LeBron would have made it if he played basketball in the 80s or 90s?
Would have made,
what?
Do you think LeBron would have been better, or do you think he would have just been average, or do you think he would have been better than he is now?
It's like asking me about Muhammad Ali. He would have been the greatest in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s. Muhammad Ali would knock out Deontay Wilder in the 7th, 8th round. Deontay Wilder would take as many big winging shots as he could and miss him. And Ali would hit him with counter punches and would hit him with a straight right lead consistently over the left hand that Deontay Wilder drops. Fact. All right. A great player goes back in time's easy. The thing that makes Jim Brown, that Jim fucking Brown to you. The thing that makes Jim Brown great is that he would have still been great in the 70s or in the 80s or in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean,
They would have made more money.
Imagine
he
if
would have made
Jim
more
Brown
money,
and
right?
Bo Jackson would have played during the same time.
So,
And Emmitt Smith.
And
Yeah, I mean-
today, Jim Brown quit playing football because he was tired of being broke. In today's NFL, he would have played 14 years.
Oh, preach.
I mean,
He
Jim.
wouldn't have stopped at fucking 29 like he did.
Yeah,
Jim-
Jim
So
Brown
didn't Bo Jackson
wanted
get
to make
injured?
money.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Bronk.
Oh,
Yeah, Jim Brown went to Hollywood to make money and be a star. He wasn't having that in Cleveland with Art Modell. So he
There's
he
more
left
money
when he was
than
29 years old.
Yeah. I mean, Jim Brown, great anytime. If you put LeBron backwards, he would have destroyed everybody. LeBron is the new prototype. And now the new prototype is Giannis. If he ever gets it together to hit 3-point shots consistently and to improve his game that way, the new prototype is a 6'11" point guard. So it constantly changes. And, you look at Michael Jordan, who was 6'6", and yes, he had hops, but by today's standards, a 6'6" guy with hops against what's out there today wouldn't be so easy. Wouldn't be so easy. That little separation jumper going over a 6'11" guy guarding him who's as fast as he is. The game changes. I think LeBron James would have been great up to this point, he would have been great, no matter where you played him. And I think Jordan, you go ahead, Bronk.
I mean, do you think Giannis has better defense than LeBron in his prime?
yes.
I wouldn't have thought so.
LeBron was a guy who was an effort player when the situation called for it. And I think LeBron's defense was like the block shot, the chase down, when you needed it. But LeBron couldn't, with the minutes he was playing, give the extended effort on that end of the floor because of the team he was playing for.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, he couldn't play both ends of the floor for 42 minutes a game. That would just kill anybody. But when LeBron had to play defense, that defense always came. And he was never outclassed by anybody when it really mattered.
Now, this is a great comment. Jim Brown would have been great today, but Freddie would have still thrown on first down.
Exactly. I mean, he's not using Chubb. Freddie didn't use Chubb. That's the biggest complaint everyone should have about him. That we didn't use Chubb would have had 2,000 yards with a proper coach this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out the reference to Ezra Charles and Rocky Marciano.
God.
I mean, Ezra Charles, the reluctant dragon. I mean, Ezra Charles killed a guy in the ring. And for the time that he killed a guy in the ring, afterwards, he was not the same guy. And, all fighters come to an end and different things bring them down. Ezra Charles was actually really a light heavyweight blown up into a heavyweight at the time. And so really, Rocky Marciano fought at the weight of a cruiserweight. So
and you could say the same thing happened to Ray Mancini after the Dooku Kim fight.
I think that, you talk to Ray about that. Yeah, I think that would affect anybody. But I mean, the thing about Ray was not a one-punch knockout artist. The thing about Ezra Charles is that he did have one-punch knockout power. But in the end, Ezra Charles would go on to lose to Jersey Joe Walcott when Walcott was listed at 37, but closer to 41. That happens. Sometime you need to talk DSN Cleveland Radio for the newer viewers. Digital Sports Network.
Nice. That was awesome.
I know.
Gary the Numbers Guy.
Gary the Numbers Guy, the only numerologist on Sports Talk Radio.
Hilarious.
I never got it. I never got the whole network. I never got Greg Kozarek. I never got the whole group of people in charge of. But the thing I was fortunate about is that I got to talk to and get to know Bruce Drennan, because Bruce, when he got out of the penitentiary in West Virginia, it wasn't easy getting the job back in the biz. And I'm thrilled that he got back in and got in television and doing well right now. But he started out on DSN when I was with DSN, and it was great getting to know him. And that's how I love you, Bruce. It's like I really shocked the hell out of him. I got through on Sports Talk Ohio for his show. And I told him that tell him that Mr. Moohead, I gave my name, was on the phone. And he goes, "Hi, Mark, how you doing?" And I said, "I love you, Bruce." And he just started laughing, man. It was but yeah, the DSN days were good days. They were fun.
Hey, Mr. Moohead, can I ask you a question in regards to Kyrie Irving?
That was a long time ago. It was a long freaking time ago. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Stephen.
I just wanted to ask you a question in regards to Kyrie Irving. He's already missed 22 games now.
Yeah.
And now they're coming out with reports that they don't even know what's going on with this guy. And I just wanted to ask, is he really injured or what's going on?
Sing Titanium to him. Come on, Rox, do it. I want to see what he does.
Sing it.
No, you're muted. I can't hear you.
He's muted.
I'm bulletproof, nothing to lose. Fire away, ricochet. You take your aim. Fire away. You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium. You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium.
In some countries, this is considered cruelty to animals.
I'll give you a look like, what the heck are you doing?
That is Topaz the wolf. He's my new dog, and but what a beauty he is, and what a kind, docile friend he's become. He's been with me for a week, and this was a trial period. I'm keeping him for sure. He's 8.5 months old, and he is just a real fur ball. And I'm glad you got it. How did you hoist him? How'd you lift him up, Rox?
He's not that heavy.
Oh, he's the size of a holiday roast. What are you talking about?
It's a big dog.
I've been waiting the whole show for him to come near enough where I could pick him up.
Well, now this is his maiden voyage on video, so he's a good boy. He's a very
So, Rox,
calm
does
dog.
he have to get along with your cat?
Yes, they somewhat get along. They're kind of feeling each other out right now.
It's really hard. It hides, and I hate having to look for the pussy. It should always be there.
Wow.
Forget it. I didn't say that. That's outstanding. A Joe Louis autograph. I'd love to have a Joe Louis autograph. He's a great fighter. My God, great fighter.
Cute dog.
Oh, thank you. I wanted at least him to be able to.
Looks like a lassie.
Yeah, except he's what's called a blue merle, which means that he has that gray and white and brown and all kinds. And there's a black stripe on his back too. He's just a good-looking dog. He was going to be a
dog. You said a blue merle with an M.
Merle, Merle. Yeah, it's a mixture. And
I can't believe he's that big for 8 months.
8.5 months. He's 16 and a half inches, and that's why I ended up with him, because he outgrew. He was supposed to be 16 inches or less, and he's 16 and a half. So that's what enabled me to get my hooves on him, and I'm never going to let him go. He is a real keeper. One more thing I wanted to mention, and these are the stories that the Detroit Pistons are escalating their discussions about trading All-Star center Andre Drummond. Serious talks with the Atlanta Hawks. When Drummond came out of college, there was the question about his motor. And I remember people questioning the fact that while he was in school, in college, he would take games off And this has been the problem.
What you talking about, Drummond?
No. This guy doesn't try hard all the time. He has a lackadaisical nature, and he's 7 foot, never learned how to shoot free throws particularly well, didn't develop anything outside of range, could rebound the hell out of the ball when he wants to. When he brings it and he has his motor, he's really tough, but it never lasts for long. And yes, he was an all-star center, but if you can get a yield for him and you're the Pistons, I suppose you go for it. But it's one of those things that follows players through their careers. And it's one of the things you got to look out for. The analytics people who are looking at numbers only, you got to look at more than numbers only, because there's the characteristics and personalities of the players too.
Hey, Mr. Muhead, the Rockets also rumored that there's a rumor going around that the Rockets are going to offer Clint Capella in exchange for Kevin Love. Clint Capella and a draft pick.
Well, I mean, Capella's a guy who's around the rim. I mean, and Love is going to be gone, and Tristan Thompson's going to be gone. I do want to point out something that I said many, many weeks ago when he was looking terrible. Darius Garland is a player. He can play. I'm not so Colin Sexton gets ball hoggy at the wrong times. The game's last game was a great example. 103 to 103, and he did nothing but dribble the shot clock down and takes a crazy off-balance shot. You can't have that kind of shit at crunch time. But Darius Garland passes the ball. He can shoot the ball. He's slick. He doesn't have a lot of hops, doesn't have a lot of hang time, but he's more in the mold of a Jason Kidd playmaker, and he has a better shot than that. So he can play. Love will be gone. Tristan Thompson will be gone. Capella is a guy who will give some rim protection, which the Cavaliers only have in Henson, who's injury prone.
Would you like that deal to take Capella in a draft pick? If we give you a first round and Capella?
How is Capella doing? Is he healthy?
Yeah, he's healthy. He's averaging 10. He's averaging double figures. So he's a guy that's going to give you 15 and 10.
Right. I mean, my feeling is we lose some spread on the floor, but we get a little bit more rim protection because Capella is more of a force around the basket. And what round pick are we talking?
Not exactly sure. I think it'd be like the top 15, somewhere around there.
I mean, if it's a first round pick and Capella, and how old is Capella now?
23.
I mean, you're not going to get much more. I mean, honestly, I love K-Love. He's got a great attitude. He's got a bad back, and it keeps creeping up on him. And you take what you get for him. And would
you rather take Andre Drummond, or would you rather have Clint if you had to pick?
I'd rather have the guy who tries every day, and I've seen Capella play, and he can try. He's not offensively skilled, but he will give you everything he's got, and he'll rebound the ball, and he will alter shots. That is what he's out on the floor to do. And then you have to, they're finding more and more ways to get, KP in the game. They're finding more ways to get more minutes of closing time for Darius Garland. We are undersized, and we don't have a good banger with good legs. And K-Love is a guy who also is spreading the floor with three these days. He's not a banger like he used to be.
Mr. Muhead, Kyrie Irving's missed 22 games. Should the Nets be concerned about that at all? Like, they said they don't even know what's going on with this guy. I've been trying to read reports, and the Bleacher Report, they're saying that they don't even know what his injury is now. They don't even know when he's even going to come back. He's not even talking to them.
There's something wrong emotionally with him, and I think that he may have a mental illness. I don't know. But all I know is that the Cavaliers, the players all said that he was sulking and not communicating with people. So I think that at the end of his tenure with the Cavaliers, something happened and the worm turned, and he just has never gotten it together. So,
well, let's start with, first off, Kyrie, even before LeBron James came back to Cleveland, he was never really a leader for anything. And then LeBron came, and he wanted to be a leader, and he failed miserably with the Boston Celtics, trying to be a leader.
Well, and again, the system that you're put in, you can't be Uncle Drew when you're playing for Brad Stevens. And Brad Stevens is all about five-man basketball, share the basketball, and you got to do the dirty work, not just the glory. And Kyrie has always been a glory-oriented guy. But there's something else. There's something else going on here that is emotional, not just physical. And I can't speak for it, but something's wrong with him.
Another thing we got to look at is the Kevin Love trade. I would trade him if I was the Cavs because think about it, he's like 28, 29 maybe. Why not try to get as much assets as you can? Because, I mean, by the time this team gets fully rebuilt, do you actually think Kevin Love is going to be, like, really a factor when he's in his 30s?
I don't think he's a factor now. To be very honest with you, I think he's a great guy. But I think, like I've said, he's on a rest now on back-to-back games because of his back. It has been a problem the last 3 years. And, you know, he's gone from being a down low 280-pound guy who was banging down low to a guy who expanded his range and became a catch-and-shoot guy playing with LeBron. And now he's somewhere in between, but he's forced to bang more because we don't have any paint presence. And we're an undersized team, and I think that it's taken its toll on him physically. So yes,
Okay.
I would trade him.
Mr. Muda, here's the 3-team trade proposal. I wanted to make sure you get this correctly. The Rockets receive, if this trade goes down, this is the rumor. It's between the Hornets, the Cavs, the Rockets. The Rockets would receive Kevin Love. The Cavaliers would receive Clint Capella and Michael Gilchrist. The Hornets would obtain Ben McLemore, Nenene, Easton, Hartenstein, and a 2021 second-round pick. So obviously they're going to get all of our guys. Nene just signed a contract last summer, so they're saying that obviously the Hornets are going to get all of our guys, and then you're going to get Gilchrist and Capella.
All right, so Capella and
Kid Gilchrist.
Kid Gilchrist, that stupid fucking shot of his that never goes anywhere. That guy's worthless. In my mind, he's a throw-in, and that's a salary dump. The guy sucks.
It looks like Michael Jordan's going to win on this deal.
Yeah, Michael Kid Gilchrist is nothing. Drafted high for no good reason. That I've never seen anybody shoot a ball. It's just
on the ball.
Not Chuck Wagon. Have you seen Chuck Wagon shot? Oh God.
I mean, it's but that's ugly. I mean, I haven't seen a shot that ugly since Ira Newble. I mean, and that's saying a lot.
What about that guy from the Bulls? The fucking center that they had. The old guy.
Cartwright?
Yes.
Yeah.
He used to have one where it was way up and like over his right shoulder, and that's where he would shoot from.
Yeah, I've seen guys with bad releases. I mean, the last one that I saw was, of course, Lonzo Ball. You know, you don't shoot the ball from this side of your body, folks. I mean, you got to be squared away. I mean, anybody will tell you it's in the follow through for the rotation of the ball off the fingertips. I mean, I went to basketball camps. I know this shit. Anybody knows this shit. You can't shoot a ball from over here, and I don't know what. And
the team looks like he's slingshotting it, like he's going like this.
Yeah, it's all over the place. It's an ugly motion. I got to get out of here. It's already 13 minutes of bonus Moohead, which some people would really pay. Well, Bob Kraft would pay a hell of a lot for 13 minutes of Moohead. Bonus Moohead. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope that you understand that Jimmy Haslem is only doing what he's doing to secure all of the power in the organization, and he's going to have a bunch of lackeys and his analytics guy. Don't be looking for nothing, folks. Don't be looking for nothing.
3-13, here we come.
This guy will run it into the ground, and that's why he's thrilled to be back.
Woo!
Yeah.
I'm cheering for your cousin.
And then we're going to end up with Josh McDaniels, aren't we?
I don't even want to think about that.
No, I think we're going to get Brian Carter, and I'm going to be done.
We're going to get Billy Carter.
Billy Carter.
McDaniels.
Billy Beer.
Freddie Kitchen.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. Back again come Monday. We're going to watch NFL playoff football this weekend. we'll see what happens. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and Rox, thanks for showing Topaz. That made it easier for me. That way I didn't fall out of my chair again. Until next time, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.
Hannah,
Good Monday.
Carter.